And thank you, Amanda. Now, Educator Wellbeings and Auckland Chamber of Commerce CEO Michael Barnett are on my panel today. Good to have them along. Welcome along to the program. Edgecombe, they're very angry, aren't they? And, of course, you get an emotional response, Michael, and this sort of thing. But do you think they have a right to be frustrated and angry? I do.
Yeah, I think they do. I mean, but to me, it's a stage of grief, and they've got to a stage of grief where they've been shifted out. They agreed with being shifted out. Now, they want to go back. They want to know who's to blame, and it's not all happening at the pace they want to. So the grief is coming through in an expression of real frustration at the moment. I think there's also a big question on the issue of how safe was the bank previously. And from my perspective, I'm looking at the business community down there and saying, how quickly will the government say, yes, there will be a package, so they don't have to turn around and beg for that?
Well, they need to announce it today. We had Bill English, the Prime Minister, on here, and I've covered this stuff and seen it for years. You know, Christchurch, Kaikoura, we've seen it. They go in there, they repeat the package and repeat the package. It's not a huge business town, but there'll be businesses there. They need to announce today some kind of interruption package.
Go early. Yep.
You know? Welby, what do you reckon?
I think the same point is that you've got people who have lost their stability. You know, a home is the most fundamental way we have of belonging in the world. And when you take that off somebody, often with only a few minutes warning, people will go through grief, and then they go through fatigue, and then anger comes in. And there's a step beyond the anger. And if you're going to get to that, you've got to give people information. So the quicker you can get people safely back to homes or with more information, the more you're going to be able to manage the anger and turn it into something productive.
And the question here is negligence, you see. Is it corporate negligence? Is it local government negligence around the regional council? Now, if it's negligence, then the people have a right to perhaps some future compensation. Someone to be held accountable, don't they?
And, of course, people always look for somebody to blame.
Of course.
And that accountability comes in. But nevertheless, I think there's a whole lot of places in New Zealand where there's people living in places that will get flooded, that do face the dangers of the decisions that were made a long time ago that you wouldn't make today.
No, but you mitigate that, though, don't you, Michael? You mitigate it with good decision-making, knowing that this town is under a dam.
And they mitigated by putting in the stop banks, and they haven't, well, it appears they haven't done it well.
Well, with people like this, they go home to their houses, and they walk in there, and, you know, the floorboards are down, there's water everywhere, and they may not get back into their houses again. What's the best way for them to cope? I mean, you've seen people over the years, haven't you, with coping mechanisms and lack of coping mechanisms. What's going through their mind?
I think something's already happening. If you look at it closely, you can see the strongest thing you can have is mates. So how you build community and how community operates and gets fed and resourced, that's your great lead through in these things. And in fact, people naturally do it. You know, I'm a farm boy. You know, you can't be horrible to the people next to you because you're going to need them to tow your tractor out in 3 weeks' time.
And that's the great thing about Edgecombe, small community, everyone knows each other. Yeah.
If you look at the news reporting, you can see these people worried about each other's cat. They're worried about the fact that someone's got enough food to eat. And you've actually seen this other very Kiwi thing on the outside with Give a Little, with Facebook, people pouring stuff in. Because that's actually, we've learned over time that we're in a shaky country. We've got laws that have allowed us to build cities and towns in dangerous places, and then you get an unnatural natural disaster comes in and we face it. You know, and we learn incrementally that you have to look after the people who look after the people.
Yes, it's a
and
really
that's
good
the
line.
way. And with a flood, also, it's not over. It unfolds over years. You know, the stains that keep coming through your wallpaper, the smell that won't come out of your house. Just when the water's gone away, that's not the end of it.
Such a good point.
I have an Isuzu D-Max Ute if you need someone to tow your tractor out of the mud, all right?
I checked to see if he's got his gumboots on this morning, but he hasn't. So.
Hey, Syria and Russia and America and Donald Trump, do we think Trump did the right thing by reacting? Michael?
I'm sort of divided on this because I think he did the right thing. I think there had to be a response, but I find myself sitting here and over a decade, the hundreds of thousands of people that have been killed, and then because they were killed differently, we responded. And I'm asking, why haven't we responded earlier? And then I get to Trump. This was his first test, and I sort of agree. We had to have a response, and we got one.
Welby, do you think Trump passed the test?
No, I don't. And I don't trust the safety of the world to somebody who makes decisions the way that he does.
Pictures of kids suffering.
I think it's more than that, though. You know, in 2011, that was a country where lots of people who were quite different actually got on quite well together. It started with a peaceful protest that went haywire. Now we're at a situation where you've got Russia and America and Iran and Saudi Arabia all in there resourcing with trying to solve the situation with weapons, and yet we have 3 failed attempts, but they were all very good attempts at trying to find some way around this without killing people.
What would you do? You're the head of the UN, because you'd probably be bloody good, actually. So you're the head of the UN, Welby. What do you do?
Well, first of all, I'd start getting people, each of those people around the table, when you look at the things that have failed, it's been close, and then there's been some physical reaction that has thrown a ferret in the chook house.
Yes.
So people have started reacting emotionally. It's lifted up the testosterone level, and then they've gone for it. The wars we haven't had have happened because of good negotiators. We should be putting the energy into, and I watched, Bill English this morning. He may not be my favourite guy on earth. At least he's got the attitude that it's not the way to solve this by escalating violence in a situation where more and more arms have been pumped into and a nation divided into fighting states. If you're going to fix that the same way as Edgecombe, you've got to find ways of bringing people together in a crisis. And so when you look at those initiatives that have been, because 3 of them haven't worked, you don't give up and bomb the living daylights out of it. You don't fix wars by going in with the boot. You go in with your brain. And I think that Trump has given an easy answer to people. They go, oh, maybe we just go in and boot the living daylights.
It's called talking in a room.
Yeah, but how long do you go in with your brain? And that's the frustration.
Well, how long has the UN been around for? 60 years?
How long has the war in Syria been going since?
Exactly. I've got to move on. It's 20 minutes after 8 o'clock. We'll come back and continue to discuss this after the break.
Tonight, join the project team from 7 before one bachelor literally falls hard for the Bachelor New Zealand at 7:30. Then take a fresh look at life and love and The Wrong Girl at 8:40. Catch it all here on 3.
Every baby is precious, and they all have delicate skin, which is up to 30% thinner than adult skin. Introducing our new range, Huggies Ultimate. It's our best care for skin in our most breathable, softest nappies ever. With a unique dry touch layer with aloe and vitamin E, it's the hug that cares for their skin while they wear it. Because whatever touches their skin should feel as gentle as your hugs.
Ready for a change? Get the look you want at a price you can afford. Paint it yours with free tinting on accent paint, exclusive to Mitre 10.
Indulge in a blend of Moccona Premium in coffee with finely milled roasted coffee beans. Moccona Whole Bean Reserve. Moccona heeft meer.
What's my why? To prove that my disability doesn't define me.
Redefine your limits with the latest gear from Rebel. Like these Puma children's hoodies, just $45. Show your colours with new season Warriors gear out now. Save $70 on these New Balance 720 running shoes. And conquer the court with new season squash and badminton rackets out now. No one's got more sports gear than Rebel Sport.
Smashed windscreen? No worries. Just Novus it before anyone even notices it. You know Novus are fast, so you know to ask your insurer for it.
So what's your crack? Novus!
At Pack and Save, you get low prices on all your Easter goodies. Oh, careful, Bugsy. Not just chocolate. Bugsy, there's steak, hot cross buns, carrots, and... every year. Easter deals on now at Pack and Save.
As you get older, it's good to get things sorted, like funeral insurance. You don't want loved ones facing expensive funeral costs when you're gone. So call Cigna on 0800 996 031. They'll give you that peace of mind and do it taking a real-world approach.
Here's what I mean. When someone passes away, costs can mount up. Venues, caterers, flights home for the family. With Cigna, loved ones can access up to $30,000, usually within 48 hours of a claim being accepted.
So they're not stressing about money at a time of grieving.
That's the Cigna difference. What they offer is great, why they offer it even better. Call 0800 996 031 and get 10% off your premiums for the first year.
There's 60 months interest-free store-wide on now at Noel Leeming. Large Panasonic 8kg front-load washer, only $896. Or this 15-inch HP notebook, just $845. And we'll show you how it all works with Tech Solutions. Only at Noel Leeming.
Saving the humble bumblebee, getting up close and personal with zoo animals, tips for packing for a hike, and some ways we can help deal with grief from all the Stephanie Harris.
She's a busy old show, plus Chef Mark's making stroganoff, so join us right here on the cafe after the AM show.
Welcome back to the program. It is coming up 25 minutes after 8 o'clock. Educator Wellbeings and Auckland Chamber of Commerce CEO Michael Barnett are with me on the panel. Sonny Bill Williams. Michael, what do you think of old Tapegate?
Should have talked to his employer first. To me that was a surprise tactic came out. I find myself sitting there saying, if BNZ are the big shareholder in the sponsorship bag, is he giving back their money? And some of the questions go on. And I really do. I look at this guy and think he's a distractor.
Yeah. The thing about this is, if he's a conscientious objector in contract law, so that means that his employer clearly knew about this, why didn't they put in place some processes to manage it?
To me, I still believe that I believe he hasn't spoken, which is why he came out with the tape. To me, it was a construct, and it was all to grab attention. It's all to do what we're doing now, created a conversation.
Yeah, it's showboating and a stunt, isn't it?
Absolutely, and to me, unnecessary. But, maybe he's losing the talent. Maybe there's others around with a lot more skill than he's got these days.
Well, what do you reckon of this one?
I look back at someone like Michael Jones. Now, he had a belief, and he told people about it, and everybody accommodated it. They went, okay, if you don't want to train on a Sunday because of your religious beliefs, we're a pretty tolerant society. We go, okay, that's cool. You're a thinking man. You've got some ethics. You're a great sportsman. You're a role model. That's the kind of person that we'd want to look at. I look at this guy, and on the surface, I think, oh, this is quite a good role model. He's a diversity. He's got a religious belief. But if he hasn't made it really clear to people before, if you start it with a disruption rather than a constructive thing, then you turn the thing round. So I'd say if you're going to do that, then you have to work more